Now, the first big story we want to cover this week, it's a serious story. It's a tough one to talk about, but we want to give you all the news that came from this period of time. And this one was a sad story, but we want to give you all the details. In the years since this happened, we've heard a lot of different versions. There was some good reporting that took place at this time. This is a tragic incident that occurred on the first Saturday evening of this week. We didn't learn about it until Sunday, and it was an incident in Prince George, British Columbia, where the father of Maple Leafs rookie winger Brian Spencer lost his life during a gun battle with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The Toronto Star, Toronto Globe and Mail, and a couple other news outlets have given us a pretty good report, and we'll give that to you now. The father of Toronto Maple Leaf left winger Brian Spencer was shot to death Saturday night in Prince George, BC, after he forced a local television station off the air at gunpoint for not showing his son's game when he was playing for the Maple Leafs in Toronto. The Prince George CBC affiliate station CKPG did not carry the Toronto-Chicago game. Instead, like other British Columbia stations, it featured the game between the Vancouver Canucks and the California Golden Seals. Brian Spencer's father, Roy Edward Spencer, who is 59, he's a gravel pit operator, phoned the station from his home in Fort St. James, which is a small community about 85 miles from Prince George. In his telephone call, Mr. Spencer demanded that the station drop the West Coast game and show the game in which his son was playing, and of course, the television station refused. So Roy Spencer then drove the 85 miles to Prince George, which is a city of about 70,200 miles north of Vancouver, to back up his argument. Upon his arrival at the Prince George television station, he forced his way into the building at gunpoint and compelled the staff to shut everything down and go off the air. As he was leaving the station, he was met by 3 Royal Canadian Mounted Police officers, and after he refused to give up, shooting broke out. One officer was hit by a shot from Mr. Spencer in the leg. Spencer was hit twice in the chest and once in the face by police bullets. He was pronounced dead on arrival at a local hospital. Brian Spencer, who is a rookie with the Leafs, had said before the game with Chicago that he regretted that it wasn't being televised nationally so that his dad would be able to see him. And he said, "Dad's pretty sick right now, and I think it would have given him a big lift." The shootout in Prince George began shortly after 7:30 p.m. That's about 10:30 p.m. Toronto time. CKPG newsman Tom Harfel said Roy Spencer approached him in the station's parking lot and told him he had phoned in the afternoon to complain about the hockey telecast. Harfel said that Spencer told him, "I don't like CBC's hockey games. Why don't you broadcast the Toronto games?" Hartle told Spencer they had nothing to do with the hockey telecast, and then he walked to the front door of the station. At this point, Spencer pulled out a pistol, a 9mm Magnum FN pistol made in Belgium, and pushed it against Hartle's back. Hartle said he had the hammer pulled back, and he said he was going to use it. Hartle said he tried to block the door to the station. Then the newsman said Spencer told him there's going to be a revolution all over the country because of the CBC, and he forced him into the lobby of the building. He eventually made his way into the office of program director Don Prentice and told him to get the station off the air. Prentice said that Spencer was cold, stone sober, but he was shaking like a leaf. Newsman John Ray, also present at the time, said that when Spencer first came into the newsroom, he seemed very steady, but he didn't seem to be, quote, all together, but he still had pretty good control of himself. Later, Ray said, Spencer was shaky and his speech was jerky. He seemed to be mentally upset, very disturbed. Spencer apparently lined up all the employees against the wall and told them, I don't want to kill anybody. I've killed before. I killed many times in the commandos. Turn the TV off. Now, Prentice said he shouted to the broadcasting operator to take the station off the air, and the man obeyed. The station went off the air at 7:40 p.m. Another station employee, meanwhile, called the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. After he was convinced that the station was off the air, Spencer ran out of the front of the building, and a group of RCMP officers were waiting outside the front door. One of them, Corporal Roger Post, removed his gun and holster in an attempt to talk to Spencer. Prentice said Post called Spencer and said, hold it right there. At that point, Mr. Spencer opened fire. One bullet hit Post's empty holster. Another one hit Constable Dave Podruchny in the foot. Post and Constable Steve Lazinski then opened fire on Spencer. They fired 4 shots. 3 of them hit him. He was rushed to hospital but was pronounced dead on arrival. Brian Spencer received the news of his father's death early on Sunday morning when his mother phoned him from British Columbia. Despite the terrible news, Brian suited up and played for the Maple Leafs that night in the return match against the Sabres. Now here's how that came about. As soon as he heard that Brian's father had been killed, Toronto General Manager Jim Gregory asked him if he wanted to be flown to BC immediately. Brian said, my father wanted me to be a hockey player more than he wanted anything else in the world. I think he would want me to play, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.